So backed by popular demand, I have a new Fiverr video today, and rather than doing an exterior shot, I'm going to be doing an interior shot today, and this is an office that I designed and I modeled myself. I left everything empty, meaning the background and all the materials and everything in the scene, because I wanted someone on Fiverr to do it to see what that would look like. So it was a little bit of a challenge, and if you want to see the exterior version of this video, then check out my other video that I'll link somewhere around here in the top corner. Now this time, rather than reaching out to everybody individually like I did in my last video, I just posted requests on Fiverr and had people reach out to me. And I got over 50 requests for this video, so it took a little bit of time to go individually and see which one would be the best for this project. But I ended up picking these 5 guys here, and now let's go over each one by one and see the work that they did. So first we have Deco Star from Nigeria, so shout out to Nigeria. And this is the work that they did. So let's take a couple minutes for each one and talk about what I like and what I don't like. So overall, I think this is a very nice, clean render. I really appreciate that they added ceiling lights. That's something that I didn't do in my model, and it was on purpose because I wanted to see how picky these guys were with their renders. The material that they used for the floor looks nice, it's crisp, and overall I'm happy with the colors they chose. They left everything white, but they have this accent gray wall here, and they decided to use wood for this millwork that's on the back side of the office. Now in my proposal, I told them that they were free to be as creative as they wanted, so I didn't tell them what I wanted or what I wanted it to look like, so they were free to choose their own background. The only thing that I did tell them was that these 3 things here were openings or windows that they could use whatever background to design what those windows were looking at. I'm pretty happy with the background that they chose. I feel like it is kind of unique because usually people like to pick mountains or lakesides, you know, something natural, and they put it in the middle of a city. I wish they would have taken some time to put something on the screens to make it look like someone was working there. I like the glow that's under. I wish they would have also added that glow in other places so it's not just under the counter, but maybe they could have use that same light accent somewhere in other places around this furniture. If I'm being picky, these lights, this glow of light that's coming from these fixtures here, they copied that same one over and over, which is, it's not a problem at all, but there's this line that runs across each one in the middle and it's kind of distracting, so that's me being picky. Also, this PNG that they inserted here, you could still see the outline, that white outline here, and some of that white that's left from when they cropped out the image from the background. And the perspective is not right. You could see that this doesn't go into the vanishing point. The floor does go into the vanishing point, so they did a great job with that. The frame also doesn't vanish properly, and that could have been easy. They could have just used the vanishing point tool on Photoshop and they would have been able to do it. I forgot to mention that my only requirement for all of these is that they use Photoshop. So I provided the image that was made on Rhino using Enscape, and they were supposed to do everything else on Photoshop. That was the only requirement. Something else that I just realized that I didn't even notice before when I first got this is that this image, they got it from online, and you can still see that stamp, that watermark is left on, and I caught it here at first. It's very visible right on this point, so that's a big no right there. And then finally, for some reason, when they placed this material here, they left that gap, so they didn't blend it in properly, and it looks like there's a separation between the wall and the floor. It just looks like a mistake, and you can see that here. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this result, so I think it's a good effort. It looks nice, it looks clean. Those things that I called out are just me being picky, but overall it is pretty nice, and I'm pretty happy with the overall decision of materials and colors that they decided to go with. Next we have Soday Creations, which is also from Nigeria. And this is the rendering that they submit to me, and you can clearly see that there was very little effort that went into this rendering. So I just want to mention that when I sent my original image, it was 5 megabytes, so it wasn't a big file, but these guys managed to send me a 50 kilobyte image back, so it was significantly reduced in quality for some reason. And you can even tell because the images that they used are very, very pixelated. If we go back one, you can see that by zooming in, the quality is still there. Yes, it starts to get blurry because it's not a super high resolution image, but you can still see some of that detail. But in Soday Creations, I can't even tell what most of these things are because of the lack of resolution. So very low effort rendering. I think it could have been okay, but notice how here I can't even tell what's going on here. It's like they separated this plane. That's, if you look at the top of it, this is all on the same plane, but for some reason when it hits this part, even though these 2 points are on the same plane, at the bottom they're not. So I don't know why that happened or what they were trying to do, but it wasn't successful at all. For the background, they didn't even try. They just kind of put this this gradient from white to blue to gray, and then they left it white at the top, and they actually just covered the bottom. They were like, you know what, I'm not gonna do anything with these windows, they're driving me crazy, so I'm just gonna cover this bottom one up. The floor is just one solid piece of wood. There's no divisions in them. They left this outside part just completely empty. They did nothing with it. There's no lights on the ceiling. It's just very, very low effort. But this just seems like this person didn't really care. They just rushed through this and slapped whatever they could together. And I could tell simply just by how pixelated everything looks and just the way that they threw the materials on there. They didn't take their time to figure out what would look nice in this space or anything. Next we have Sumed357 from India. Let's see what they did. All right, at first glance, this one looks pretty clean. They added this quote at the top. People say it's lonely at the top, but I sure like the view by Charlie Sheen. I don't know why they would put a quote, but I did say they were free to be as creative as they wanted to, so this person likes quotes and likes Charlie Sheen, apparently. And then they added this, work hard in silence, let your success make the noise. Well, when you put a quote on a rendering, it kind of makes it feel like a meme almost. And so I never advise that people put things like this. I think it makes it look cheesy, and if you're gonna do something like this, make it look at least like a poster or neon lights or something, because it just looks like you took the text tool on Photoshop, wrote this quote, and just put a drop shadow on it and called it a day. You know, you should try to make it look like it belongs a little bit if you want to do something like this, so it doesn't look like you just threw text on a picture. You added some trophies to my office, I see, so down in the comments, guys, let me know what those trophies are for. And see what I'm talking about? This is exactly what I meant in the last one. They added images to these desktops, so it makes it look nice, and I do appreciate that effort there. The background, it's a little too zoomed in, so I can't really tell what's going on. This bottom portion here, for example, you can see that that's the ocean, and this is some sort of walkway that's next to the ocean, but really there's no more detail. I can't see what else is going on there. And the perspective is skewed. Just like here, I feel like the perspective is all completely wrong on these two. And the top, you know, that's a sky, but it doesn't show too much. It just shows like a little bit of that blue. And I'm not even gonna pick on the reflection, because I know it's not something that's easy to do, especially when you use an image. We've all seen this guy here, guys, on Google. When you type in people PNG on Google to use on your own renderings, we always see this guy. So I've seen him before. I've never seen another version showing his face. So doing this reflection, it's not easy. So I'm not even gonna pick on that. This material out here, I think they did a great job at making this feel real. It looks like a corridor leading down to some stairs. And so I really enjoy how they did that. I feel like this material out here looks better than this one here. This one out here, I have a big problem with. And the problem that I have with this is that it looks like one of those peel and stick textures that you put on your walls, that cheap stuff that you find at like Lowe's or Home Depot. It doesn't look like it's an actual wall that's made out of keystone or whatever this stone is. And if you zoom in, this portion here is significantly more blurry than this one is here. So I don't understand what's going on with that. But notice also how they left this edge here. That's what makes it look so cheap. So if you're gonna do something like that, don't just do it on 1 or 2 planes. Make the whole thing 3-dimensional. You know, make this stone continue all the way through, so it looks like the whole wall is actually made out of this stone, and it doesn't look like one of those cheap texture stickers that you put on. I'm not a big fan of the color of this wood. I think it's too red for the other materials that you've chosen here. If you would have toned it down a little bit to match more of the color from this stone, I think it would have felt like it complemented more rather than contrast so much, but that's completely personal. But overall, I think it's a pretty good effort. Next we have, and I hope I don't butcher this too bad, but Rhino Shifa, and they are from Bangladesh. And this is what they did. And this actually is one of my favorite efforts so far. Actually, so far it's my favorite, but overall it's one of my favorite. I'll just say this, my office would never look like this. What they've done here, I would never do this to my office. But as an office in general, I love it. I love the colors. I love this wall over here so much. You know, everything makes sense. Everything fits into a palette. This funky triangle thing here is pretty cool. I really enjoy it with the little reading area. That's amazing. Overall, this is beautiful. Even the artwork on the wall, this and this, it all falls under the same color gradient. So everything just makes sense. Now this person got a little creative by adding this, I don't know what these are called, but it's like that net seating. So it gives the illusion that it's open. I don't know, maybe there would be some sort of structure so that it remains closed and you can lay down here. It's pretty cool. I think that's a successful detail in the sense that it really would make this office feel super cool. And overall, the decoration is great. Again, I'll just be a pain here and wish that they would have turned these monitors on by adding something to them, anything. I also really enjoy how they highlighted the trims of the shelves and even this desk area here by making the edges out of wood. So some dark exposed wood. So that is very nice. Overall, I'm really happy with this one. I think this person definitely knows what they're doing. A couple of critiques here. These lights, we tend to often see recessed lighting. And if you don't want to do recess, that's okay. You don't have to. But something that's not so generic as these light fixtures here, something that would have been more along the lines of everything else that's in the room in terms of design. I don't mind that the ceiling is exposed concrete. I think it's actually a cool idea. It is too much of a harsh contrast with the walls. You know, you have these nice clean walls and then you have this really exposed concrete. So but I do enjoy it. They kind of messed up here. They left these little edges here. That's okay. And this background, you know, it's a little bit low effort in my opinion. I know that things that are in the back are supposed to be blurry, but this doesn't look blurry. It looks kind of pixelated. So, and you can see that there's this hard edge here, something weird that's happening. Maybe it feels that way because this is just black. And so what they should have done is added some of these colors to the edge here like you would in real life, because this is a metal reflective material. And even if it was matte, you would still see some of those colors blend into this material here, into this edge. So it would belong a little bit more. And doing that to the bottom and to the top. But overall, I'm really happy with this effort. I think it's a great job. It's beautiful. This is one of those renders that are completely frame worthy. I could frame this, have it on my wall, and just look at it and be like, man, that is so nice. And last but not least, we have Soday. And an interesting fact about this person is that they actually messaged me letting me know that they watch my channel, so they're familiar with the videos that I make, and that was pretty cool. Usually I'm against hiring people like that because I want people that do this effort not to know me at all, but I decided to give him a shot anyway, just because in his message it seemed like he was really excited to do this, and so I let him do it. But I probably wouldn't do something like this again. And this is his work right here. Overall, I think it looks beautiful. It's nice, clean, elegant. These doors are really cool. They're sleek, you know, they're very modern and they fit into the space. And I love the materials that he chose for the wall. It looks nice. The colors are beautiful. And if I'm just gonna be a pain here, I wouldn't have made this out of wood, or I would have made something else in the room out of wood, because it stands out in the wrong way. It kind of looks cheap. Like, I like what he did here, for example, where this contrast, but it's a nice contrast here. I feel like it's too strong. So maybe if he would have made this out of this same material, or if he would have made this out of this material, even though I don't like this here, it looks cheap compared to everything else in the room. This looks like an IKEA furniture, and notice how this right here even matches this portion here. So if he would have used this material to just, you know, decorate everything else, I really do believe it would have made it look better, but that's just me being picky. I love how you included an acoustic guitar there, just randomly thrown, and my office would definitely have an acoustic guitar, so I love that. I just wish it would have been implemented into the room a different way. I wish it would have been hung from the wall, or maybe placed over here sideways, anything, but just kind of like laying there, because it looks like it's about to fall, really. I think the background looks cool, looks nice. This is apparently on some sort of cliff looking down at this river that passes under, so that would be super nice. I would love to have an office like this where I could look up at the night sky and also look down at this river that's going under me, so I love the choice of background. And actually, if you would have looked at this too quickly, you would have missed it, but I love the detail that he used to change one material into the other. So these materials are in fact different, and he shows that. He actually stops it here with a harsh line and continues the next material on the other side, and I really do love that. And then I think that the biggest problem that this rendering has is that the size of the scale figures are kind of odd. I feel like this one is okay. Maybe he's a little bit too big. Maybe it's just that chair that it's kind of throwing it off, or maybe he is at the right size, but when you look at it overall, she feels like she's a little bit too big. That might just be me looking at it. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Does she look too big, or does she fit right in? And I also think it's pretty silly that this guy's walking this way, but apparently there's nothing back here. So you should have made a door or something so that it looks like he's coming out of a room that exists over here. It doesn't look like he's just walking out of a dead end. Unless he walked around this door and then made a U-turn, or walked around this part here and then made a U-turn, which makes no sense. And I know that's me being picky and some of you don't like that, but when you're making renderings like this, you want to pay attention to every single detail. I'll give you the same comment that I gave the last person, which is some of these colors should have come up on the edge of this opening, just so that it feels like it's blending in a little bit better. But overall, this is beautiful as well. You did a great job with this one. I'm really happy overall with this one, and this one too is one of my favorites. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This time, rather than like the last time, I actually decided to hire people around the same price, and I spent about $50 per person on this one plus tip. So there wasn't that much of a difference in price gap, and that way it kind of kept everything nice and balanced and fair in a way. And now I'm gonna have a little poll on this video. So just click the little eye icon at the top of the top left corner of this video and vote which one of the 5 is your favorite. That being said, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm Mooch, and this is Pigeonhead Architecture. I'll see you down in the comments.